Welcome to Inside the Thunder. I'm KD Hudnall, and on this show, I go one-on-one with some of the most recognizable names in Marshall athletics history. Thanks for downloading another episode of Inside the Thunder. It's been a while since we put one of these together, but it feels like since football season is quickly approaching, it was a good time to try to get one going. And, well, I reached out to a herd offensive lineman of the Conference USA era, and he was cool enough to say, yeah. So this episode, I'm welcoming Will Ulmer to the show, and we're going to go inside the Thunder with Will. Will, before we even get going, I'm going to rip off some of the coolest things that you've got under your belt that I don't know that will ever be broken. I hope you're aware of these, but if you're not, you're about to be. You are Marshall's Iron Man, brother. 57 games started, which is number one all time for the herd. You are tied for fourth in all-time games played with 61. You are a 5-year starter on the offensive line, which I'm sure you knew. And, of course, a 2021 second-team All-Conference USA selection. Very storied career. Played amongst some of the better offensive line units in recent history. I'm really pumped to have you here, man. Thanks for saying, heck yeah, let's do it.
Hey, man, thank's for having me.
Dude,
yes, sir.
I'm ready to get into it. First of all, did you know you were the Iron Man?
I didn't. Well, I knew I had the start record or whatever. I didn't realize I'd played in 61.
Yeah, 61 games.
Man, that's a lot of football.
That is a lot of football for the herd. Tied for fourth all time. When you think about that, 100 years worth of football, 100-ish years worth of football, and you're tied for fourth. I should have looked up what, like 1 and 2 is only like a game or two more, so it's not like tons more. You're right there, bro.
I believe it.
I think that's wild in and of itself, because how freaking hard is it to stay healthy in order to do something like that?
Man, I can't even attribute it to anything that I did other than I was just really blessed and fortunate to keep good health the whole time. It's a war of attrition out there, and I just thank the Lord it all stayed healthy and it worked out.
Yeah, for sure. You got to be good, you got to be fit, you got to take care of the body, and you got to be extremely lucky, dude. How many times have you just been rolled up on and been able to get up and play the next snap?
Hey, Don Joy knee braces saved my life a bunch of times.
Well, to the tune of 57 career starts and the most all time, which we're going to get into the weeds just for a second here, because, the NCAA passed this new eligibility rule. You get 5 years of eligibility to play, period, whatever, and whatever that turns into, it turns into. But you couple that alongside like a transfer portal era type thing, and it's really hard to see a guy staying at a place for 5 years and long enough to start, 57 games. Do the math. In 5 years, that's more than 11 games a year. That's a lot of football. So that one might stand for a while, dude.
That is. And you factor in that the 6th year that was my red shirt, golly, I was there for a long time, man.
You were there for a long time. Yeah, man. You benefited from, did you benefit from the COVID year or no?
I benefited from the COVID year. We had trying to think, 2020. Yeah, that was the COVID year. So that one, I guess, didn't count. And then I got to come back for Coach Huff in 21. So It gave me that extra year eligibility.
Wow. Okay. So, man, most of the time under head coach Doc Holliday, and I think you might be the first guy from Doc's era that I've spoken to on one of these shows.
Really?
I think so. Yeah. Because most of them have been older guys from the 90s and older or whatever.
Yeah.
But, and I've spoken to a couple of more recent guys, Sunbelt era fellas, and maybe some other sports as well. So you might be the first guy from the Doc Holliday era. And I'd love to talk to more, man, because, I was connected to you guys, particularly your era of player, your 4 or 5 years of guys, more than a lot of the other teams. And it wasn't to do with this. It was something else that I was doing at the time that you guys latched onto. And we had something fun going with a team from Kentucky, and it was a good time, So,
oh, yeah.
So maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. But look, catch us up on everything. What's been going on? What are you up to these days?
Man, these days I am settled down. When I was in college, I met Bailey, who's now my wife. We just celebrated our 2 year anniversary. I work as a residential electrician. It's a family business, and on the side, we live on a cattle farm, and we've got, I don't know, 150 head of black Angus cattle that we look after. That's a full time job in and of itself, but really enjoy spending my time uh, being outside, hunting, fishing, hiking, just breathing fresh air, man. That's what I'm all about. Still get the guitars out. My brother and I we try and play guitar at least once a week. Not really playing in front of crowds or anything anymore, but more just on the back porch here, just playing for fun, which I've always enjoyed. That's the reason I got into it. So yeah, man, that's what I do.
Buddy, I don't know if that's like a more fitting after college life. I mean, I knew you as this country guy, right? From Eastern Kentucky, and it's very fitting that you say I live on a farm. Of course, hunting and fishing that kind of goes hand in hand with just that part of the world.
Yep.
And my next question was gonna be, are you still playing music? And I don't think that ever leaves you. Like it never really leaves you, you know.
No, no. I'll probably still be playing music when I'm 80 years old.
Well,
Good Lord willing.
so it's great to hear that you're doing well. You're happy. You found the woman you love, and you're building a life together. Congratulations on 2 years and counting. Here's to
Sir.
30 times more that, 60 years, 60 years strong or something. Uh,
Absolutely. Yes,
let
sir.
let's turn the clock back a little bit. Let's talk about how it all got to this point when you were starting to make some important decisions years ago,
Yep.
closing in on a decade ago, decade-ish. How in the world did Marshall even enter the picture for you in the beginning?
In the beginning, I was a 6'4", 250 pounds, soaking wet, rough, raw talent football kid. I think I was a 2 star coming out of high school. And I'll never forget, there was one summer where I had a coach, my high school coach, Coach Centers, sort of, because I didn't really, I'm 16, 17 years old. I'm not really even thinking about my future at the time. It's just, what's happening on Friday night. And, sat me down and talked to me and sort of explained to me that going to college to play football was a reality for me, and it's something that I could achieve. And his question to me was, is that what you want to do? I said, well, absolutely, that's what I want to do. And he said, well, I'm gonna use all my contacts that I have, and we're gonna make you a highlight reel, and we're gonna send it out to everybody. And Marshall was he sent it out to Coach Mirabal, who was our offensive line coach at the time, and he was the very first coach, very first school that offered
Wow.
right off the rip. And you know, I went through high school. I didn't commit just right away. I racked up a couple other offers, and but through the recruiting process and everything, there's so many coaches and so many guys that are dishonest and withhold information. And from day one, I could just tell that Coach Mirabal was honest and had good, pure intentions and believed in me. And that made my choice really, really easy. Um,
Hmm.
man, great people. And then I went on a visit and, met all of the coaches from that. I believe that would have been 2015. Met all the coaches, met Coach Mirabal, sat in on a practice, saw how it was done, and just fell in love with it. I'm like, yep, this is it.
So, was there a moment in time that it clicked and you went, yeah, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. Some guys have told me it was out of practice, it was on a visit, or maybe it was before all that. They came to a game, and they were just trying to feel it out or whatever. And What was the singular moment for you, if there was one?
Singular moment for me, I came on a visit, and it was a spring practice. And it was early. It might have been a Saturday scrimmage actually, but I'd never been to Huntington before, and we drove there. My family, mom, dad, and my little brother, and I'll just never forget when we crossed the bridge going into West Virginia on 64. There was like this really cool mountain fog that you don't really get where I'm from, and we roll in, and that was the first real extensive time that I'd got to spend with Coach Mirabal. We'd talked on the phone, and he had visited my high school a couple of times and watched me work out and everything. But um, as soon as we got there, he separated me from my family and was like, "Come on in here. You're gonna see what it's like to be coached by me. You're gonna sit in the room and see what a spring practice looks like." And gosh, it was just raw, and it was unfiltered, and it was passionate, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, yeah, this is where I need to be. This guy's gonna make me better. We're gonna win games here.
Well,
Uh,
I will say Alex Mirabal made a lot of offensive linemen better. And he was a guy that when he was on our staff, I thought, man, this guy's an absolute guru. He's a guru. And to look at him, you would not think this guy coaches offensive line because he's not built like what you visualize an offensive line coach to be. He's like built like me, 5'8", 5'7", 150, 60 pounds, but he's intense as they come, man.
and he is just a student of the game and a master of his craft, man. It's like he never sleeps. He never stops. And he's always finding a new edge and a new way to improve and a new way to coach his guys up. And that's just a Marshall guy. You don't find those guys anywhere else.
I know. And when you do have him, it's hard to keep him. We were lucky to have him for as long as we did. And then, he made the trip to Oregon to reunite with, God, I'm drawing a blank, but they're at University of Miami right now.
Yep.
It's but those guys are. I wish I am mad. I'm drawing a blank on the head coach.
Cristobal.
Mario Cristobal. That's right, because those guys are buds, like for real buds. They were
Best
in each
friend
other's
since middle school. Yeah.
right. They were in like each other's weddings, that type of thing. So when that comes calling, you have to answer the call.
You have to.
So
Yeah.
I respect that. It wasn't a prestige grab. It wasn't a money grab. It was like my buddy is calling me to go coach, and it just happened to be at a much bigger opportunity. We're talking about Oregon, then we're talking about University of Miami, where they're from. Like South Florida. So the first impression of Huntington was sounds like it. There was, when you say there was this low-lying mountain fog, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And then what was your first impression of the campus as a whole? You had to have toured campus.
We did. We toured campus. Campus was beautiful. We I don't know. To be honest, Huntington was probably my first experience, being in a true like industrial, like steel mill type of town.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It looks like hard work, and then Marshall's campus is like this oasis in the middle of it. And but the thing that stuck out to me is everybody's a Marshall football fan. Yep. Everybody's got bumper stickers. Everybody's got flags in their window. Everybody's wearing green. It's, you don't see many fan bases that are that passionate about their sport and their team. I don't know. Like I say, it all just kind of hit me at once. All my senses were going. I was like, yeah, this is it.
This is the place, right? I mean, we say that all the time. We say that nobody like embraces their school like we do because we have a story. We have a story unlike anybody else. Doc Holliday said it better. No team means more to their city and their town than Marshall does, and that's true. He said it perfectly when he would try to explain what Marshall means to Huntington. And now they're so intertwined, you can't separate one from the other. Marshall is Huntington, Huntington is Marshall, and it will be that way until one of the two or both close their doors, right?
Yep.
So let's talk about, you're on campus now. You've committed. You finally got here. You're in the thick of things. And So when you're away from the game now for a while, when you catch yourself on the back porch or whatever, and you're staring out over whatever you're looking at, and you're just kind of zoning out for a little bit, and you start catching yourself drifting back into those playing days, what is it that stands out first? What do you immediately think of first?
Gotta say, being an offensive lineman, the sense of community within the offensive line room is bar none. The Coach Mirabal would always say 5 men, one mind, and that was it to a T. And we talked about it prior to the show, but you know, these are your best friends in the entire world at this point in time, and you have the exact same schedule. You have to be the same places at the same times, and you practice. Alex Millette was my guard for a long time. Jordan Dowery was my guard for a long time, and you just spend so much time with these people and invested with these people, and the chemistry is really what you think of. We could finish each other's sentences. We knew what the other one was going to do before they did it. We knew, uh, walking out of practice, we could give each other a hard time. Might come up to me, hey, he's coach going to get on you about that block you missed. You gave up a sack. We went over it in the meeting, and yeah, just the camaraderie and the guys. I don't think you find it anywhere else in the world besides an
Mhm.
offensive line room. Uh,
That's an interesting point, and the 5 men, one mind is something that I still say. I got that from him during that era when he was saying that and talk, and we're in the thick of our position group breakdowns for the 2026 herd, and it's offensive line week for us this week, and we're doing the offensive line breakdown, and it'll come out in a few days. I hate to say stuff like that on shows like this because it kind of dates where we are at a moment in time when somebody could listen to this a year from now or 2 years from now. But
yeah,
anyway, I said that during the offensive line show. It's 5 men, one mind, because that, again, it makes perfect sense, right?
it does.
And that's a unique answer, though. I haven't had anybody say that they think about that. Usually it's like the stuff that you hated at the time, but you catch yourself missing, those 4 a.m. workouts or whatever. Like, man, I hated that crap, but I'd do it again. I'd do it again, you know?
That's the thing. You got to go through the really hard stuff that sucks, for lack of better word. You got to go through that stuff to appreciate the good times.
Yeah. Well, on that note, then, what is it that you're most proud of at your time at Marshall?
I've got to say, one thing I'm really proud of was in 2017 as an offensive line, we fielded 3 redshirt freshmen, myself being one of them, and we were top 10 in the nation in sacks allowed. Uh, by the time we won the New Mexico Bowl, that was a really cool um, experience. And I believe in 2020, we finished the season as, I think FPS ranked us as either a top 5 or top 10 O line in the country.
Yep. I
That
had
was
I had just seen that when I was trying to dig up some things for this. I believe you guys were fourth, but like PFF rated fourth O line in the country. And I'm like, wow, even that escapes me. Like you're banging that drum in the moment and in the year, and then you forget about that stuff, and then when you relearn it again, you're like, holy crap, they were really good. you
oh
know?
yeah, and I mean some of the individual talents that we had within that system. I mean, we had Tariq Adams, we had Kane Madden, we had Josh Ball, we had Alex Millette, we had Levi Brown. I
Mhm.
mean, the list just goes on and on. And golly, and I don't know. I think we did a really, really good job of communicating, coming together, and working as one singular unit. I think that's
I mean, you don't reach a top five, top four rating by accident. You have to have talent, and you have to have all the other things that go along with that talent to help it reach its potential. And then you guys have to work as one cohesive unit. So
that's right.
that's amazing. That's it. When you really start to dissect that stuff, you can get a better understanding of how incredibly hard that is. I mean, you could individually have the best season of your career, but if the other 4 guys don't, it doesn't really matter. You know,
That's
like you
right.
might have a great year, but what does it look like on film? It probably doesn't look that great.
That's
What means more to you now than it did at the time?
now than it did at the time. I've got to say, ooh, that's a good one. The bowl wins. The bowl wins mean a lot. Uh, which only was involved in two. We had a Gasparilla Bowl and we had the New Mexico Bowl. But I mean, to look back, especially now that I'm old and I feel washed up and I'm watching, college football bowl season at the end of the year, just to look back, man, it took a lot to go win one of those.
Yeah, it's a long season. You know,
It is a long
it's a
season.
lot of moments that have to stack in order for you to get to where you want to be. That's pretty good stuff. You know, I think about that New Mexico Bowl a lot, and this is attributed really to an offensive line play because there's a couple of plays that stick out to me in that, and I'm not trying to get off on a tangent here, but I think about the long Tyler King run, 90 yards, 90 something yards, and then I
Yep.
think about the Yurachek touchdown. And I think that's maybe it wasn't, but it feels like that was the game where he kind of did, like he was, I don't know, he did a little celebration, like banged the football off his head, like chugged the football. That was
Yeah.
awesome. That was
Yeah.
awesome, you know? And then we talked a little bit about Gasparilla because at this time, I was living in Florida. I got to drive 20 minutes away and watch the herd, you know?
Yep.
And when does that happen, you know? And that was very cool. And you beat a UCF or a USF team on their home field, you know?
Yep.
That was a cool moment. That was very, very cool, you know?
Very
Um,
cool.
I mean, get back out of my nerddom here and get back to focusing on you a little bit. Who deserves more credit in your mind in Marshall lore than they get? Like, who of your teammates just deserves more credit?
Mm. Gosh, that's a really good one because we had a lot of really hardworking, grinded out guys.
I know.
I would say a Devin Miller, but I think he gets a fair bit because of the Notre Dame
I love Devin.
touchdowns. Yeah. Uh, but Devin was a guy that always just put his head down, went to work, first one in, last one out kind of guy. Our defensive guys, they were always great, but you also have the individual stats that go along with defense. So that kind of speaks for itself. Uh, I'll tell you what, more credit than they're due. I'm going to give some to, I wish I could just give it to our running back core as a whole, but I'm going to give it to Brendan Knox, too. That guy would just, I don't know. He's just a self-starter and would always push his teammates to do more and to work harder and to stay after. And, man, I mean, he played as hard and as strong and as fast as he possibly could every time he got a chance. And, he did not waste a single rep.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've always been a big fan of Knox. I think he gets lost a lot of times when people talk about great running backs at Marshall because people don't
yep.
really think about it as a running school, but we've had some unbelievable running backs in our history. And if somebody peruses the record book, I think their eyes
Oh,
light
yeah.
up and they go, "Holy crap! Really? All these guys? Yeah, yeah." I would put our running back history up against any G5 school, anyone.
Yes.
And people think that that's crazy. I would do it. I feel that confident in our history of backs. And Knox just gets lost in the shuffle amongst the Chris Parkers and the Doug Chapmans and the Ahmad Bradshaws. And then here you have Knox, and I wish I could remember the exact stat, but it was a lot. It was something like 599 career carries or whatever it was. One
Yep.
fumble. One
Yep.
fumble. That's nuts to me.
And
That's an excellent pick.
to go back and, you just through my time, we had so many amazing running backs. I mean, just electric. And you look at a Brendan Knox, a Tyler King, Keon Davis,
Mm-hmm.
a Rasheen Ali. You look at all these guys that have absolutely stellar statistics, and then you dive a step deeper, and you're like, wow, these guys were splitting reps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were sharing drives.
Yeah.
It's not like we just had one workhorse that we were just shoveling the ball to. No, these guys They were splitting games and
Yeah,
still putting up those kind of numbers.
and I think that's why they get lost in the shuffle, is because one guy wasn't racking up 1,200 yards. Two guys were getting 650 yards.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
Yep.
When you talk about great runners of the past, you had guys that were the workhorse back. And that's where fans go to the eye-popping numbers. But in reality, you're right. You're splitting reps. You got 2, 3, 4 great backs.
Oh yeah.
Putting up what one workhorse is doing. Yeah,
Yep.
it was a era of spoils for in the running back room and the offensive line room. You ripped off how many guys and some of them I have forgotten about. But man, you guys are really good. What the hell? You're really good.
Oh man. Good old days.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I never played, obviously, but it was fun to watch. And whenever I get an opportunity to talk to guys like you and do these shows, I always make it a point to say thanks for creating memories, because my sons were, well, my oldest one was much younger, and those are things we still talk about, like that 2017, 18, 19, those years, even though that was only 6 or 7 years ago, that was a third of his life ago. You know what I mean? So he was
Absolutely.
a kid, and I mean, I know this was a tad before you got there, but I walked a goalpost off of the Jones C. Edwards field with him, at 12. You know what I mean? That's a memory. So there are guys like yourself that gave us memories. We shared those things. And when I'm so appreciative of those, so I always make it a point to say thank you for giving me memories that I made with my son. That's so cool.
Hey, man, it was a lot of fun for us too.
I'm sure it was more fun for you guys. It was like I was just sitting there watching this kid have a great time in the stands. I was like, man, who's got it better than me right now? Nobody's got it better than me. If you could relive one moment, what would that Marshall moment be?
I would go back. I don't remember what year we played them. It was either 2018 or 2019. But we got a shot at Ohio University, longtime rival, in the Joan. We went in, the game plan's like, all right, they got a physical front seven defense. We've got a physical offensive line. We're going to go in. We're going to pound the rock. We're going to, we're just going to punch them over and over and over until they tap out. And we actually had a trick play put in that game for Tariq Adams. I was supposed to play left tackle. Tariq was supposed to play right tackle. Tariq had a little injury or something pop up, and so they subbed in at left tackle and moved me to right tackle, and they called the trick play. And the trick play was right tackle lines up in the backfield, motions out as a slot receiver, and I had never gone through it in practice. I'd only watched Tariq do it. And here it is, game time, and Cramsey calls it, and I'm like, all right, well, I think I know what to do. So I line up in the backfield, I shuffle over, and my whole job was to distract the defense. I don't remember what they told Tariq to do, maybe a cartwheel or something. I stood up and did a jumping jack, but we hit Devin Miller down the seam, wide open, go route to the tight end for like a 40-yard touchdown. And if you go back and look at that play, you'll notice I check in with the ref. It's the only time in my life I've ever lined up at receiver or checked in with the ref, and I was at least 4 yards offsides. And the ref just gave me a thumbs up and went with it. I think he was surprised as any of us. But
oh my goodness, I'm gonna go find that. There's a good chance I can find that on the internet. I bet it exists somewhere. I will find that. It was 2017 or 18 against Ohio University, and who caught the touchdown?
Devin Miller caught the touchdown. It was probably 2019, if I had to guess.
Right, well, I'll find it. I mean, we didn't play Ohio at home too many times through that era. I'll find it. I'm pretty sure I can. I'm going to try like hell to find it. That's cool. I want to see if I can catch you. Being the distraction.
That was a fun play, but man, that last drive, I want to say we got the ball with. I think we're up by maybe 2 scores, but I think less. We get the ball back with like 9 minutes left in the fourth, and coach comes out. Cramsey's like, "We're going to take their hearts. We're just going to take their hearts. We're going to hold the ball for the rest of the game." And I'll be damned. We got the ball on our 15-yard line, and we just ran a run play, stand there and watch the clock. And we'd run a run play, stand there and watch the clock. And we held the ball for, I want to say, 8.5, 9 minutes, and drove all the way down to their goal line, uh, and finished it in victory formation, took a knee. But that was sweet.
That's got to be very, very sweet. Like those are the
Oh,
ones you hope you can do, and you're like,
yes.
we're gonna seal this game away with almost 10 minutes left. You watch this, watch this.
Yep.
That's cool, man. Like that's one I feel like so many games in my head are just run together. And I'm too old to remember all this stuff now, but that sounds like one worth if I could find the entire game, like wasting 3 hours to watch,
Yeah.
on a Thursday night or something like that. But that'd be a trick play and a 9 minute close it out drive against a historic rival. Come on, at
That
home.
was that
That
was a
was
fun.
pretty cool. That's a good story, Will. That's a really good story, man. I
Uh,
think that'll pique the interest of a lot of fans that are listening. They'll either go, "Oh, I remember that. Yes, I forgot it," or they'll go, "I got to find that." I hope he
yeah.
finds that. And let's get a little deep just for a second because I want to talk, get a little advice from you about some of the process. Right? If you could, if knowing what you know now and what you experienced and what you went through and all that kind of stuff, if you could sit down with yourself, your 17, 18-year-old self, as you were about to go through the process, what advice would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself that when you my first year, my red shirt year was probably the hardest football year of my life. Man, I 100%. I was underweight. My talent level was very raw. I didn't know nearly enough about football to go in and make an impact right away. And there was a really big moment where I had to just get out of my own way and say, all right, I need to just treat it like I'm a toddler and I'm at square one and relearn the game. It's not going to happen for me this year. I've got to get in the weight room. I've got to get stronger, or I'm going to keep getting pushed around in practice. I'll just go back to myself, and the moments where it feels like it's really, really hard are the moments that are making all the difference. And keep pushing and go through and keep your head up. And thankfully, I had a good support base, and I had some really good peers and friends around me, and we made it through fine. And then obviously 2017, I start playing, and the rest is history. But no, there was a point, man. Those non-travel lifts the first year, the travel portion of the teams getting ready to fly off to San Antonio or Pittsburgh or wherever they're playing the weekend game, and you've got a 5 a.m. workout, and it lasts for 2.5 hours, and it's the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. And you get back to the dorm room, and you're like, man, is this for me? I don't know. I don't see any sense in doing this stuff. Uh,
So
Man, I
now
made it.
you realize that's by design, right? They're trying
It
to
is.
weed you out. They want you to question yourself. I don't think that's a exclusive Marshall thing. I think that's a football thing. Like they want to know if you think you're good enough, you're tough enough.
Absolutely. Do you have the wherewithal to hang with it when it gets really, really tough? Can we trust you?
Yeah,
Man,
yeah,
I was making deals with myself. I At one point we finished an on-travel workout, and I called my mom, and I was like, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna give it all I've got this off season. I'm gonna do everything they tell me to do. And if I don't make the travel team next year, I'm probably gonna hang up the cleats.
yeah,
I don't know what I'll do. And man, I gained like 40, 50 pounds over an off season. Gave everything I had to, Coach Day and the strength staff, and that really helped a lot. I spent a lot of time in the film room one on one with Mirabal and some of the guys, and just trying to learn the game to the level that I needed to understand it. And wouldn't you know, lo and behold, we come out week 2 or 3 of camp. Coach Mirabal comes out and he's like, "Look, this is the travel squad," and my name was on it. And he went through, and he was a no BS guy. If you didn't make it, he would tell you why.
yeah,
If you did make it, he'd say, "Oh, you're good," or "But you're one mistake away from from non-travels or whatever. I never forget. He came down to my name and he's like, Ulmer is third. I think I was third string at the time. He's like, Ulmer, you're not ready to play in a game yet, but you worked so hard, you deserve a spot. And I was just like, it felt like exactly what I'd asked for, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, lo and behold, 4 games later, I'm in the start. I'm in the rotation, and I start. And it all started with a spot on field goal that Coach Mirabal just thought I deserved because I'd worked so hard. And yeah, that was. But yeah, I guess my advice would be keep your head up, never give up. When it gets hard, it's
that's where you separate, right?
yeah,
I mean, but that had to be very validating, man. You're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work my tail off, and if it happens, it won't be. If it doesn't happen, it won't be because I didn't give it everything,
exactly.
And then to be validated with like you've been working your tail off. You're not good enough to play in a game right now, but you worked your tail off, and I recognize that, right?
Yep.
And I got to imagine, I have no idea, right? But I have to imagine if there's 2 men that you want to recognize you're working hard, it's your position coach and your head coach.
Yep.
Everybody else is like, you're back here, man. I need these 2 guys to see what I'm doing.
Not a bad spot to be in at all. No,
it's a good spot to be in. So how closely are you able to still follow the herd?
I think we made it back to 2 games last year. The year before, I think we made it to 4 or 5. I'm looking to make it to a lot more this year.
Awesome.
But honestly, the portal makes it really hard for guys like me. Obviously, I live 2 hours away from Huntington, and I'm not. I don't necessarily hear the word on the street as the word on the street I have to read and I have to see or whatever. But I am really excited. We got a guy from Richmond, Kentucky that's playing on the team now. His name's Kenyatta Harge, defensive lineman.
Yeah, just transferred from the University of Kentucky. Yeah.
Yep. And that's a cool small world coincidence and everything. But man, I think I definitely need to make it back to more than 2 games. That's pretty sorry performance on my part.
But I still think that's pretty good, because there are a lot of guys that hang them up for the last time and then follow along on Facebook, or they'll watch a game on ESPN Plus, or, and that's fine. That's fine. It doesn't make them any less important to the climb of martial athletics, the story of it doesn't make them any less important. But I think it's great when guys say, you know what, it's important enough to me that I want to make the trip. I mean, it's a couple hours away. I'm going to make the trip. I'm going to have a good time on a Saturday. It's cool, man. I'm going to do that. So I think that's pretty cool. And I would never look you in the eye and say, you need to come to more stuff, because here I am. I can't get to anything. I'm lucky to get back to 1 game a year, but I think it's great. I really do. It makes me feel good because I think I get what you're saying when you say it's a little tougher for guys like you in this portal era because you gave every single year to Marshall, everyone, and I don't know if it was ever a question for you, whether it'd be like, God, I don't know if I want to transfer or not, but you gave him 6 years, dude.
Yeah.
I gave him 6 years, you know what I mean? Like I didn't play it down, but I gave Marshall 6 years and I think that's enough. It's hard for regular fans. The regular fan base it's hard for them, in a place like Marshall where they hold that team so close and they really, a lot of them view those players as their own kids or grandkids or something like that, and they get behind a kid and they start to like a player and then he leaves and they're like, what the hell? This is not what we're used to. A lot of that older fan base is still in shell shock over that. I don't know if they'll ever get used to that. But I do think it's great that you come back, especially since you're so close and it's doable. I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome. Well, to that end, then, what's it like being a fan? What's it like experiencing games as a fan and not having to worry about getting ready for game week and you get to chill and have a cold one and eat good food, right?
it doesn't hurt near as bad as being a player. I don't miss the bruises and bumps and scuffs and all that stuff. No, I love being a fan. I think it's great to go. It's like a little mini reunion every time we go back. We always wind up in a group with 10 or 12 guys that we all played together, and we're all here. We are, telling all these old stories and old lies and whatever from back in the day. And no, it's great, and I really enjoy going back and seeing the progress that the university makes. I mean, like to go back last year and be able to see the Dutch Miller deck. That's incredible. That's
Yeah.
such a tool in a lot of ways. But um, to know that it's moving in the right direction, and the powers that be are moving in the right direction. That's awesome to me.
Yeah.
I like doing that. I
Yeah.
like that.
They definitely have a vision of where they want to be, and the Dutch Miller deck is a really cool place to watch a game. It's a very cool vantage point. And then this year, they're going to roll out they just announced it the other day, what they're calling the porch.
I saw that.
That looks pretty cool. I think there's going to be 4 separate, I'm just going to call them suites, like outdoor suites. I think there's going to be 4 in the opposite end zone on the concourse there, the big wide concourse. I think that's going to be a pretty cool thing. So they're doing some more premium seating things, and we have clamored for that for years and years and years. They've needed more suites, and I'm glad they're doing that. But that's so you mentioning like the direction that the university as a whole is going. Like, what is it that impresses you when you get back? It can be something at the Joan. I don't care what it is, but what is it that impresses you the most? Is it the look? Is it the energy surrounding the program? What is it?
I like the look. I like the energy, but I mean, there's a lot of brick and mortar stuff that's come around since I was there. I mean, we didn't have a baseball field when
Oh
I
yeah,
was there.
yeah,
The first time I came back and drove by that, my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, that's awesome. I really like the direction where it's modernized to an extent, but it still has the old classic traditional feel. We still honor the 75. I really like the equipment changes that happened. Like the black helmets were awesome.
Mhm.
Uh, Things like that. The new turf is awesome. I think every move that's been made visually has been a classy one. I appreciate that. Uh,
Yeah. There's a big push from the athletic administration and even president of the university that they're moving in a direction of fan experience. I think they understand that it's hard to compete with a 75-inch TV that you have in your living room and food you already bought that's in your fridge, you
yeah,
know. So you got to make it about the experience as much as it is about the game, and that's I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the players and the work that they do and none of that, but it's it's more than the game now.
yeah,
The game is what you're watching while you're in enjoying the experience, and
absolutely. And people have kids. People have. I guess for me, when I watch a Marshall game, I can't help it. I've been force fed so much film. When I watch a game, I watch the left tackle the entire game. Every single snap, I watch the left tackle. And if we're on defense, I'm watching App State's left tackle. Uh,
right.
but I know that's not everybody's reality. That's not how everybody watches the game. Most people follow the ball, and then they go get a Thunder dog and a beer, and
Yeah, yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. You want your fans to be comfortable and have fun and do all those things. I think it's great to make it experience driven, like you say.
yeah. But it's all that stuff evolves from things that you guys did. You guys had to continue winning games to keep people interested and bought into Marshall games. You had to keep being a perennial Conference USA contender. And you had to play these tough rivalry games and sometimes take one on the chin and then bounce back and lay an ass whooping. Those
Yeah.
are the things that you guys were able to do. And it's all part of the climb to getting to where we are now. It's not just well, that was that was the Conference USA era. It doesn't matter anymore because we're in the Sun Belt. No, it matters.
Yeah.
Absolutely matters. Everything matters. Um, let's do some just some quick stuff like light rapid fire questions, and then we'll start winding down. I've got a few more after that, but
All right.
overall, I think I know this one, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Who's the favorite coach you ever had?
Ooh, I got to go. Can it be a tie, or do I have to pick
Sure,
one?
it's your answers.
Man, I'm split between Coach Mirabal and Coach Adkins because they were a lot, opposite ends of the spectrum in different ways. But man, just the genuine love and time and just the investment as a whole that they took in us is insane.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
they're I consider them my family at this point. As
yeah. Who was your favorite teammate?
favorite teammate, man,
I'll
I got
get
to
you.
say Alex Millette, number 55. Man, we were roommates pretty much the whole way through, and man, that's the guy you hear about foxhole guys. That's him.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I didn't know if I'd get you in trouble with that one, but you got to ask.
oh for sure.
Who's the funniest guy, funniest teammate you ever had?
Man, Xavier Gaines was a real cut up.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah. We could get X going. Devin's hilarious. Levi Brown is hilarious. God, there's a lot of them. A lot of them.
What's the favorite road trip you ever made?
Favorite road trip we ever made? It sucked at the time, but looking back, it was really cool. We took a bus to Cincinnati and played and beat Cincinnati at Nippert Stadium in 2017. That was a fun one. And Boise State in 2020 was
Oh
cool.
yeah, yeah. I forgot
Was
about
that
that
20 or
game.
19?
I don't know. That was way out there. That wasn't the COVID year, which would have been 20.
Yeah, it would
Right?
have been 19. So
Yeah.
that
Wow.
was a fun trip.
Who had that? It's like Amari Cobb got the interception in that one. Is that right?
That's right.
That was a low scoring game, right? Like 13-7 or something like that.
Very low scoring game. Yep.
Man, that was wild. You guys hung on the
We,
road all the way across country. Man, y'all hung on that one. Who's your favorite rival that you guys played?
oh, there's no such thing as a favorite rival, is there?
Sure, there is. It's who do you love to beat the most? Good
I love
Lord.
stomping Western Kentucky University. I love it. I
uh,
love beating Western Kentucky.
Good Lord. Who would you say is the most underrated martial athlete? It doesn't even have to be a football player. Somebody that was at the university when you were there. It can be a football player, but if it's not, that's okay too.
You talk about just sheer athletic freak of nature. It's hard to beat like a Darius Hodge.
Oh yeah.
Golly, we had so many edge rushers that I had to block every day in practice. That and what do you even do? We had Kobe Cumberlander, who's just built like the Incredible Hulk.
Yep.
Golly, so many guys like that. Tavante Beckett was a freak. Yulee was a freak.
Yep.
Yeah, golly. Having
you
more
have to try
flashbacks
to,
here.
you have to try to keep those guys off of your guys, man. I can't imagine having to try to go up against a Darius Hodge when he's locked in, or Beckett when he's locked in. Good Lord, man.
Man,
Good
yeah.
Lord. Oh God.
I had some long practices with those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the one martial memory that'll stay with you forever?
One martial memory that'll stay with me forever.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being in the locker room in Boca Raton, Florida, after we beat FAU on the road. It was the one we won on a last-second rushing touchdown. It was Knox. It was Brendan Knox.
I know the play.
Yep. It was just awesome. I remember I look up. I had a defensive tackle that tried to cross my face. pancaking. I'm laying on top of this guy on top of the ground. I look up and I see Knox in the end zone. And then I look over and everybody else had a pancake on the same play. We're all on the same level looking up. That was a really good one. But just the locker room after that game, man, the amount of just excitement and joy and everything, we were bouncing off the walls. That was a really good one.
I want to take a second and think, and I'm envisioning that vantage point because you're probably expecting to be on the ground and at least see somebody standing up, and you see everybody else on the same plane as you. That's
Oh,
got to
yeah.
be funny as hell in the moment. You're like,
Yep.
what?
Yep.
Yes, I know the play. I remember the drive. We're trying to make something happen, and that was a long drive. Knox really workhorsed his way down the field in that one. I don't remember what his rushing total was, but a big chunk of them came on that final drive.
Absolutely.
And then he cut through the line on that play you're talking about and ran away from the defense. And it was like, we're up. What?
Yeah.
It was just like, what? We're up. Yep. Yeah, that was a great game. That's a highlight I watch a lot of Knox because of the call, the game call on that one. It was really good.
It was.
Yeah. What do you make Marshall special place?
Sense of community. Marshall football, I mean, you look at it, we've got guys from all different walks of life. We've got, it doesn't matter about it really doesn't. Everybody says this, it doesn't matter about race, creed, religion, ethnicity, background, financial status. Like everybody, I'm sure it's the same way. Everybody, you show up, you start at zero, clean slate. You've got to grind your ass off to earn a spot on this team. And once you're in, you're in. And man, just that mindset and that brotherhood that we have, that's what makes Marshall special to me. That and man, we do have the best fans in college football because nobody's been through what our fans have been through with our history and our past, and to meet somebody. There's always a Marshall connection. There's always a connection that somebody has a connection to the Young Thunder and Herd, or somebody's family passed away on the plane crash, and just to make these real concrete connections that it makes you realize how much it actually means to this community, and that nothing will ever touch that.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people outside of the Marshall universe, they see a movie and they think it's like this fictional thing or this Hollywood thing, and these weren't real people that really lived and really existed. And like, I don't think that connection fully gets made for a lot of people. And even out of town fans, opposing fans, they like, I've talked to so many opposing fans that legitimately, honestly have said to me, this was a bucket list for me. Like, I wanted to come to Marshall. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Because I guess it's because we're used to it. We're used to the story. And even though it's special to us, it's our home. It's it's our home. And to have opposing fans go, yeah, when I saw Marshall was on the schedule, even big, like larger schools, I knew I was going to that game because I wanted to see it. And I'm like, man, that's really cool. We don't have the biggest budget in the world. We don't have all the money in the world, but I wouldn't trade what we have for anything, man.
No.
Nothing.
No.
Finish this sentence for me, Will. Marshall will always be
home.
Perfect. I love that. I'm going to get you out of here with this, but I got to tell you one thing. You've been back to some games, and you say you would like to be able to get back to more, and I think that's awesome. But one thing that we have continually tried to build through the ThunderCast is a place where Marshall fans and athletes and admins, coaches, and their families can all stay connected. If and when you ever do come back for a game, please come and find us. We are on the back corner of the C lot, right under the video board. You can't miss us. We got 5 tailgate spots there, flags, the whole 9. It doesn't matter who you got with you. Please come by and say hi. There's always plenty to eat. It's a place for everyone to just hang, and you never know who you'll run into. You very well may run into some of your buddies, some former coaches. I mean, you never know who's going to be at a ThunderCast tailgate. You really don't. So you're always welcome. We'd love to spend some time with you and meet your family and hang, relax, and talk ball.
Let's do it. Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
please do. So the home opener in particularly is huge for us. Again, I'm going to date this show by talking about what's upcoming, but it's worth it. We'll have dueling smokers out there cooking. Our buddies will be cooking, and they do a fabulous job. Like they're not I call them tailgate pros. They don't run business restaurants for a living, but man, they know their way around the tailgate. You know what I'm saying?
Let's
So
do it, man.
come hungry, bring whoever you got with you, and be ready to eat some of the best food you've ever had. We'll relax and have a good time and talk ball and shoot the shit and all those good things. But I'd like to give you an opportunity to say anything if you would like to just have a word and speak to whoever or whatever, and then we'll get out of here.
Man, I would just say if you're if you're a fan and you're watching this, if you're somebody that shows up and supports us at all the games, and thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We couldn't do it without you guys. It's what it's all about. If you're a player or a coach and you're watching this, keep going, keep grinding. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your teammates. But to everybody out there listening right now, obviously you're invested. You've got some kind of investment in Marshall University, and I'm just gonna leave it with a go herd.
Yeah, nothing else you can say. Perfectly encompassed. Guys, I am KD Hudnall. That is Will Ulmer, and this is Inside the Thunder. We'll see you guys on the next one. Later.